Well, Blinken, you missed it. Game one over in a flash right there.
Yeah.
Almost a perfect game. Not quite, but they were on track. Beat down. Disguise did not let up past the 5-minute mark. After that first gank attempt bot lane, which didn't work out for them, they just kept going back for plays. Play after play after play.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it after Champ Select into the early minutes of the game that DSG, they needed to keep their foot on the gas. And
Yep.
I'll tell you what, Tomio might be the best driver on the Rift because he was all over the place. And despite the few attempts we saw from Supernova, who were trying to keep the game nice and slow, nice and controlled, they had no control whatsoever.
This is also why I think the meta is so good for Disguised right now. It's because Tomio and Zeyzal can both play engaged champions, and there's plenty on the market for them to grab, and them together are so devastating, and they set up the map, they set up these team fights so well for the rest of the squad.
And then you factor in that Varus taking the Ghost instead of something like a Cleanse meant that they can focus down that bot lane, especially when the flash is blown early.
Yep.
And that's really where they started things off. I do want to talk about the Darius pick, though. It was exciting during pick and ban. How do we feel about it after watching the game?
It was close. I'll let you go, B.
In hindsight, I kind of wish Music picked something more aggressive to play with it. The Vi was still up and available.
Elise,
something
even, maybe?
Sure. I've never seen Music play Elise, but it would have been fine if you want that aggressive early game style jungler where you can kind of get a lead. Because if Quacker snowballs that game and the rest of the map doesn't fall apart, things look pretty good. But the opposite happened.
I want to go back to this play because this, I believe, is the only Darius ult kill that we saw.
No.
And it wasn't even Quacker. As it was a big flank teleport. Quacker almost saves the play. And then it's actually Young that gets in here. And thanks for that, buddy. Boom.
I will say that was the first
Steve.
Noxian guillotine we saw, but Quacker actually did get one in that one team fight. He picked up a shutdown. Me and Eric were like, oh my god, this is the moment, the resets, but he instantly died.
Right, yes. I was busy making our Rally Cry halftime show during that segment. But I wanted to highlight that at least the first one happened. Was just the Silas. Yeah, one more look at it.
You're cruel, man.
This is beautiful. And we talked about Young and the champ pool, this being a good meta for him.
Oh, yeah.
I would even argue that this wasn't the best Silas game, but
No, I agree.
still cool that he was able to pull off some of those plays.
I find
Steve, you're a
it
jerk.
astonishing that the solo laners of Supernova did more damage. To be fair, Jace, a lot of poke, doesn't end up securing kills, it's fine, but it feels bad. Quacker, most damage in the game by, decent little bit, and couldn't really get it going.
That happens when you 5v1. It was literally happening in some of those team fights as well. The only one where Quacker got a kill, I believe it was against Fate God, right? And then he flashed into the rest of Disguised, gets a Q off. Yeah, that's going to do a lot of damage. The bleeding's going to get a lot of damage through. Quacker definitely wasn't shy to really try and get in the face of Disguise. I appreciate the look from him, though. I appreciate the look from him, even in a Stomp series.
All right, so we're not necessarily disqualifying the Darius as a pick for now. It still had moments to pop off. I do agree in that it felt like there were other things going on the Rift, and that's what I was hoping that we could talk about, is how things kind of unraveled around the Darius. But Beatdown, I do also agree, maybe a jungler that could have played into Darius a little bit more, because we know going into the game, and what we had talked about setting up for these teams, is that Quacker is often played through. He is participating in a lot of those first bloods. And, is one of the top laners that kind of draws attention to him in the league.
Absolutely, and we still saw a lot of that happen. Supernova did try and contest those early Rift Heralds. The first one did go their way. The second one, very ambitious, and it ended up costing them a lot. But the point being is that they still try to use the pressure Quacker can get, and he did get some. I will say Fate God laid very well in that game, neutralized that matchup, never gave away anything really, and actually got a small lead because he took advantage of the lack of teleport. And again, something that gets mitigated with more jungle attention. Music not as active in the top side this game as we have seen in the past, and this was one of those games, Kangas, I really wanted to see it.
It would have been fun to see the Darius pop off. We almost got that moment, but was not meant to be. Unfortunately, we don't have that one replayed. I would love to take a look at it. But that brings us into our Rally Cry halftime show. So let's have some fun with it. I'm not going to lie. This was meant to be a 3-part game that we are going to play here. We only got 2 of the parts because the game was over so fast. I didn't have time to build the third one. So this is what I'm going to need from production. I'm going to need me in the big box, some in the small boxes, and this one we're calling the whose stats are they anyway, or whose stats for short. So I was watching some of the gameplay, obviously, and trying to draw some conclusions based on the game, but it's also fun to draw conclusions from the worst thing to draw conclusions from, which is, of course, stats. They don't paint the whole picture, but they do offer a lot of fun. So, for whose stats are they anyway? The way the game works is I'm going to start revealing stats of players, and over time, the two of you will have to guess who they belong to. Now, you get one guess apiece. So if you guess early, if you think you're confident based on one of the stats that you see, you only get the one. You give your opponent time to see all of them. There will be 4 bits of information for each player, 1 on each team. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Perfect. Up first. First blood victim percentage, 0% over the summer split. Has never been first blood victim. All right, you're wait, Destrix, you're already popping
You're already
off.
guessing.
Fake God.
You want to go fake God?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to say no. Because, yes, he also has 0%, but that's not the player
but this
that
isn't
I'm
him.
going for here. So that's a half correct. Half correct. But
Okay.
not for this player. No. Damage percentage, 24.4%. Does about a quarter of the team's damage on average in every single game.
Just to be clear, these are players from these two teams.
From these two teams in summer split. Has
Each.
never died first in a game. Does about a quarter of the team's damage. Counter pick rate only 38%. Pretty low, actually. Oftentimes we see players that have these kinds of carry performances being the one that is counter picking. So not dying when you barely
Meech.
get the counter pick is pretty
Meech.
big. You're going Meech.
I'm going Meech. Damn it.
That is incorrect. And I think this will give it away to Destrix. Darius game 7.
Quacker.
Mother.
All right, let's see it.
Uh,
That is correct. It is, of course, the Quack himself. So, very impressive, and that, I think, is why we saw even the highest damage in the game that last time around goes for the Darius picks. That was a counter pick, but oftentimes what's most impressive about Quacker is he's putting out these kinds of numbers when he doesn't get that counter pick as often, but he still can pull out these really unique pocket picks like the Darius. So, fun stuff there, Quacker. Well done.
That's a badass picture. I'm just going to say it right
It
now.
is.
Man,
It is a
that
pretty
Giga
good
Chad.
picture. Pretty good picture. Shout out to Brizzy on Twitter, who I messaged furiously while I knew that we had to get this built. I was like, do you have a picture of Quacker? She said, yes. All right. So, that's Quacker. Now, for the next player. Congratulations, Destrix, by the way, on picking that one up. I'm proud of you, bud.
Oh, yeah. Bald Unity.
Goal difference at 15 is only 30.
Okay.
And on average for summer split, not counting the games today.
yeah.
But here's a hint. In the games today, it was 943.
Thank God. Damn it.
Incorrect. Already we had a guess from Beatdown. CS per minute, 8.8. Number 1 in their position. That is number 1 in their role. Damage percentage for their team. Also close to a quarter of the damage dealt overall. But oddly enough, this is last place in their role. They are 10th in their role for this stat.
So this has to be some kind of carry then, right?
No. Could it
And
be?
finally, Darius ult kills 1.
Young.
Yo, what the hell, man? That's ridiculous.
I don't know. Do we think it's Young?
It's Young. It's Young. It's Young.
Do we think so?
It's Young.
All right, let's see it. Wait, why can't I see the photo of Young? Oh, the photo of Young's gone. It's impossible. No, it's there. We got it. Ding, 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 ding.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. There we go.
Hey, nice team logo.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, this is
on
the
his
Sky's
chest.
Toast jersey. I'm pretty sure.
course. Yeah,
I'm actually almost positive.
Yeah.
So CS per minute at 8.8. He's actually in lane doing a decent job compared to his peers. Goal difference of 15 is where things start to fall apart a little bit, is the fact that when we see Young play and he's roaming around the map, this I think also why they split a lot of their series, is the fact that he's not able to transition his lane in terms of just having a stable lane into big impactful plays in the mid game. This time around, that was very different, though. I mean, he was blowing that out of the water at 15 minutes. At 10 minutes, it was actually still pretty close. But 15, that 5-minute window, suddenly everything started going aces for Disguised. So Let's see if they can do that again. This was their, quote, easy week to end the first round robin on, and they have one more game to play out. So, Pick and Ban's ready, though. Going to pass it over to Desterix and Beatdown to get ready for game number 2. We'll see you there.
Easy week. Also, it was for me, too. That was an easy win, Beat. What happened? You're washed up.
No. Yeah, maybe if there were more than 2 questions, there is a chance for a comeback, but yeah, it'd be how it do.
The Fake God one, I thought I was right away because I did look up his stat like before.
Yeah, you actually said it before we went live. That's why I also thought you were right. And
I'm still right, so
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
I meant with that specific guess.
2-0 victory for me. Can Disguise get a 2-0 as well and break the curse that they've been kind of stuck in, having 1-2-0 and then 2 ties every single week. If this is a tie, this continues with the curse.
That would be amazing. The fact that DSG so handedly just slapped Supernova in game 1, and then they somehow lose this game. I don't know, man. It would take a pretty bad draft.
They've split games with AoE. They've split games with EGC. They've split games with Maraville at this point already.
Hear me out.
I'm hearing. I'm listening.
The longer this team plays in scrims together, the better and more consistent they get. Huh?
I think you're right, but more because it's 13.12. Just gonna put
that helps too.
There.
New patches favors teams in different ways, such is the nature of things.
Yeah. Let's get a look at the draft and see how things are now shaping up. Kindred Ban, Vibe Ban, taking away a lot of the more carry and pick potential that Music does have in his wheelhouse. Nico Ban, pretty standard right there. We take away that LeBlanc on top of it as well. Some of these more spicier engages and pesty champions like that Ivern. And I don't know why Kangas was hyping it up on the pre-show. I think that champion's cursed, man.
It is, because it's broken. It's ridiculous. So good on Supernova for getting rid of it. And Disguise? I don't remember who banned it game 1. It doesn't matter. The point is, keep it out of the game, and I'm a happy guy. So the first pick being the Sedge, I expected this. The easy jungle preference there for Tomio, considering how he played in that last game. It was good. Play it again.
Yeah, he looked great on that. Was able to play, apply a lot of pressure, even in the early game. And it's his most played champion on the split so far. He actually has a 12.0 KDA on Sejuani in 5 games, so very impressive from Tomio.
Survived a lot of situations in that game 1, so I understand how that could play out here. And the response, being the Wukong, fits as well. You have that engage. You have a champion that could be a little more aggressive early on. That's what Supernova was. I don't want to say lacking in game 1. I thought what they were going for was okay, but it was hard to play with the Darius unless you had something that could help keep him going. So now, Music will play Wukong. The Ashe actually gets locked in, which is an interesting one. We've seen that one pop up. A little more utility focused, although Trinity Force, very good item on any marksman, so it does help a little bit with that damage.
And it is technically flexible. You can take that into support role and run a different duo if you want to. Hey, why are you gonna vomit right now?
It's cringe, that's why.
It's cringe? You don't like it in support?
Is cringe.
Man, okay, we'll take it back a few patches where it used to have its like auto crit. And you just pop out of the bush, pop them, and walk back in.
That sounds like it was before my time, so I'm just gonna take your word on that. And we're seeing more picks come through. You're not
more ways to flame me, Pete. Find me more ways.
How's that a flame? I'm just new to the game. Or newer. It's been a couple of years.
I don't know. I think that's an okay boomer type shout out towards me.
I mean, you are older than me.
Fair enough. I've been playing this in Season 1, man.
That's crazy to think about.
It's not that crazy to think about, Pete.
For me, it's crazy. Because
you know what's crazy? Fake God Unrenekton once again. That's
not that crazy. That makes perfect sense. He's playing really well so far. He ran the Rift in that first game. And I'm curious to see if Supernova is going to run that one back. Quacker, of course, could play the Olaf. He did play a lot of that. Can't allow him to continue being that aggressive topside point of pressure that Supernova have relied upon all split.
A very, very strong champion in his hands. At the start of the season, I used to call Quacker the second coming of Faisal just because of the Olaf play. I think over the split, Quacker's really defined himself as the first coming of the Quack. As that's
what I like better, yeah.
Yeah. As he's defined himself more and more to be this aggressive, bloodthirsty top laner. And Olaf, there's no one who does it better than a Viking, man.
Sure, there's so much CC that DSG have already that he can just ignore. So it's a good pick. I want to see Music play more towards that top side. Now that he's on the Wukong, definitely will have the ability to do so. The Rakan ban is an interesting one too. Want to continue pinching Zeyzal's champ pool. At first it was just the Rel, but they're like, oh, you know what? His Rakan is great too. And at this point, you may as well just ban another one for good measure.
You can't let him get those engaged champions. If you have both Tomio and Zeyzal on engage, it is too hard to handle, man. And even with DSG having the level of disengage that they have right now with the Emperor's Divide, I mean, the bigger struggle is just going to be that Olaf, but it's still a lot afforded to DSG's comp.
For sure. And at this point, though, you do still need to see Trevor on something a little more tanky. Need more CC in this comp just because of the fact that, I mean, you need a big health bar because DSG, they're looking to get in there. And you need some way to kind of respond to that, make plays of your own and things like that. You have Wukong, you have Ash Arrow, but I'm still looking for a little bit more in that regard. And we do see a mid hover. You can go mid here, of course. DSG did blind mid with the Azir, and you can give Trevor that absolute last pick. And you can technically could be Ash support, so you're keeping that flex.
Yeah, I hear the bitterness on your tongue as Robert Bobbert will be on the Victor, something that he is very, very familiar with, very comfortable with. Meanwhile, Disguised, locking in the Aphelios, they are going to get some late game scaling going for them. And Meech has some of the better laning stats when it comes to the ADC role. I believe Kangas sits at 3rd place currently that Meech is sitting.
For farm, yeah. That is correct. And yeah, it is going to be that Milio Aphelios. Strong duo in the bot lane, a really common one we've been seeing pop up. It is that natural response. What is Trevor going to be going for here? Something ranged, maybe? Or they do actually move music to, or not music, they move Ash to that support role. There's a lot of things that they could potentially go for. Going for something engaged would feel kind of rough because of that Ultra Mega Fire Kick. Okay, so it's going to be the Soraka. Going range for range, going heal for heal. But Soraka, she heals a little bit more than Milio.
It's going to be a lot of sustain, and that is the big thing that's going to help out over there. But this bottom lane for Supernova is very, very utility heavy, which I think is going to bode okay for them. I haven't been the most impressed by Sketch's early laning, but I have liked him a little bit more in teamfight situations for Supernova. So having that utility to just survive that lane and get Supernova towards that later end, I do like that angle that Supernova are looking for in the draft.
And it's interesting too because you, as a Soraka, and Ash actually, you got a lot of slows into your kit. Even pre-6, you also have the Soraka E, the silence. Makes it actually a little dangerous to dive this bot lane. So there is that bit of safety coming through here. Will make Tomio think twice about what timers he is looking for. And Supernova, it's more about picks for them. They have ways to team fight. They can front to back, but you have this Ash Arrow. You want to catch people out inside. You want to catch people just a little too far out in the mid lane and get some gold that way.
We enter our second game in this series, Disguise versus Supernova. Another thing to keep in mind is Sketch being on the Ash. You always get that hawk shot, which is going to be very, very valuable for music to scout out where Tomio is going to be on the map. Because as we said, Tomio's been very hyperactive for Disguise in the early game.
30 seconds until
Has been that earliness is starting right now. Quacker, they want him.
Oh, run, Quacker, run.
He'll be fine.
He has Ghost Flash, though. Yeah, he will survive. I don't think we're going to have a level 1 dive against a Quacker. You just give an Olaf a pentakill at level 1. That's sure going to be a lot of fun.
Could you imagine? No, they are going to just force Quacker to recall. Nothing is lost for it, and that actually gives Supernova an opportunity to go for an invade of their own, get some early vision down, just to keep an eye on Tomio, who, again, you said it, so active in DSG's early game in Game 1 and in Series Pass. So having an idea of where he is going to be, what kind of plays he's going to look for in the first couple of minutes will be crucial for Supernova, keeping things slow this game.
Ooh, look how competitive these votes are right now. Spam in chat who you think is going to win. SN for Supernova, DSG for Disguised. Supernova, yeah, they always come in full force into the Twitch chat. I don't know if you've seen it, but like they have plans on how they do certain chants on Twitch chat. I see the whole staff there putting the same exact thing at the same time.
I like that.
It's very wholesome, but it shows you the level of fandom that Supernova has. Disguise, you already know it's there because of Disguise does, but Supernova, you know, being in the amateur space for so long, you love to see it.
You do. Quacker, again, that aggression in that top side, taking advantage of a very dominating matchup there. He's going to look to continue being that point of pressure on the top side. Music, pathing upward, even skipping the Gromp, actually. Maybe looking for that 3 camp into a topside play. is going for a little more of an interesting clear, a little unorthodox.
He does get spotted out by a ward that was placed there a little bit earlier, so Tomio will have the heads-up information on where Music is going to be pathing. And yeah, the reverse clear route coming out for Music. Where's he going to end up at is the question.
Yeah, you see junglers do this sometimes to get the timer of the Raptors camp a little mixed up, so it will be harder for Tomio to invade. But he's not going to do that. Right now he wants to gank.
Robbie Bob having a little bit of pressure coming out from Tomio, but luckily hovering on this top side of the river means that he's a little bit closer to Music, has his bodyguard in the back pocket. Now, tweet coming out from Hawk Cass. Crazy thing is that even though Disguised is going nearly perfect, nearly going to a nearly perfect game for Supernova, I still don't trust them to win game number 2. He believes in the curse.
You and him both, apparently. We'll see. Supernova, they have tools to win this game out. And of course, if you want to have your tweets featured on stream, join the conversation. Use the hashtag NACL on Twitter, and maybe we'll throw and talk about your tweets on the stream. Supernova, though, looking at this game so far and what's happened, this is kind of what we expect in these early minutes. And in this meta, not a whole lot of action. We saw that almost gank from Tomio. Doesn't really go into anything. So I'm keeping my eyes on the jungler still. What kind of plays can they facilitate? Or what can Quacker get for himself on the matchup as the Olaf?
Again, this is similar to the picture that we saw in game number 1, the amount of pressure that Zeyzal and Meech put onto Supernova's bottom lane. My word, Trevor forced to use the heal just to survive that onslaught.
Yeah, one last Q from the Calibrum does get that summoner spell out of Trevor. The pressure is on here, and Tomio is continuing that pressure as well. He's just hovering around, doesn't care that he's seen by Music, who is now forced to be in the area too. It's just making sure this wave gets crashed in for Fake God.
And this is the struggle for the bottom lane in the meantime. If Trevor goes low, he needs to land his Q to get health back. If Sketch goes low, he's going to be healing Sketch. So the focus onto Trevor really sets back Supernova's bot lane more so than trying to get damage on Sketch. And you can see right there, they really did tunnel it in to both burn that heal and force a recon.
Yeah, and you're seeing them come back to lane now. Things are chill as usual. It just opens up DSG as the opportunity to go for that first dragon. That's coming up soon because they should be able to just continue maintaining priority on that bottom side. Again, this lane for Meech and Zeyzal, very aggressive. We saw what they were able to do in that last game as the Zyra Rakan got so many leads naturally on their own. And when Tomio came, it was just done and dusted.
Oh, yeah. Tomio, now that you have the amount of utility on Supernova, it is going to be harder for him to have the same level of impact. As we said, those hawk shots are very, very valuable on jungler tracking and trying to figure out the pathing that Tomio is going to take. On top of that, Music has been taking strides to try and make his pathing more unpredictable, as you'd mentioned earlier with the Raptor camp. But now in position, it is going to be Tomio towards the mid lane, looking to eye up Robbie Bob.
And this is good. The Victor into the Azir matchup is something I think about a lot because Victor is so vulnerable.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought he was going to die. This is good, though. I like this attention because you want to get the flash out of Robbie Bob. You want to be able to keep pressuring him so that Young can be there to fight for the Rift Herald instead of Robbie Bob.
See the Supernova fans hyping them up right now. Quacker on Olaf, Robbie Bob on Victor. GG easy. Let's see if the tail of the Rift is actually the same. As don't forget, this guys did stomp that game number 1.
Yeah, they sure did. This guy's bot lane, keeping the pressure on the bottom side. They're keeping things pretty even so far. Nothing has really happened in terms of plays just yet, but I'm keeping my eyes mid lane. Because Tomio, he's already showed up twice, hasn't been able to get the flash out of Robbie Bob. But again, Victor is one of those champions. I said this to Lennon last week, Eric, but this is what they're champions that I call. Me personally, I wouldn't take that. When someone drafts Cassiopeia, I wouldn't take that. When someone drafts Victor, I wouldn't take that. I would have my jungler in my lane perma to take them out so that they don't get to those item spikes that they're hoping to reach.
Yeah. If you burn the flash, there's no mobility. So just taking down that mid lane is so much easier. But look at this. I can't believe he's actually running it.
Fake God.
What? I didn't think he was going to go that hard for it, but Fake God just casually gets the 1v1 against Quacker.
I mean, Fake God, he had the stats. He had the Iron Spike Whip on top of the Longsword. That was I mean, that was wishful at best, but Quacker actually just ruins his lane in one shot there. I mean,
man.
Olaf is still Olaf, but look at what's potentially being lost here as he's still walking his way back.
And on Music just looking to catch the wave, but FakeOd's there, and he's got a 2-level lead, and you can see what the base damage in those leveled up skills really does mean as Music takes a big chunk right there. I did not think Quacker was going to full commit towards that, man. That was a big slip up right there, and it's definitely going to hurt Supernova.
It is, and remember, they both have a longsword, but FakeGod has that Iron Spike Whip, the extra stats, the extra damage from the active.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah.
Good stat check.
You're not immune to damage, Olaf. That's the thing.
Quacker did bring a lot of pain to that fight, but took even more.
Yeah.
Now on the recall, he's only going to have a pickaxe, but FakeGod has added 2 long swords to try and scrap it out with him.
And it will still be Quacker, now that he has the pickaxe, able to get some push back there, especially with the lane bouncing back. And because Robbie Bob still has flash, still has ult, is in an okay place, to fight for this Herald, things should be good, but he's recalling.
Here we go, the catch onto Quacker. There's no
they got
Ragnarok.
him.
It just came off cooldown. That's gotta hurt. It's a kill going over towards the top side. Tomio and FakeGod taking heads.
Yeah, and that's an easy Rift Herald for Disguise. Robbie Bob was backing, Quacker's out of the picture, and what's usually such a big part of Supernova's early game is going over to Tomio here as he's picking up Shelly, and it's just another opportunity to set up dives, mid, bot, wherever you want to go. Maybe not top, it's Olaf, but the point is, you're able to pick up so much early gold as Disguised and continue snowballing. That's where we've seen this team find so much success. When they smash the early game, like they did yesterday against Fear, like they're doing today against Supernova.
I'm actually curious to see the gold in the early stages because FakeGod, it's not just the kill and assist that he got. He got a lot of plates sticking up there, and yeah, there it is. 3.7k, a strong lead. Next closest, Robbie Bob on the enemy team, which is 600 behind. And this is at 9 minutes in. FakeGod, my word.
I will say, actually, looking at the numbers, you can see that Sketch and Trevor falling behind. We expect the push to not be in their favor, but still, you see that Meech and Zazel have been continuing to get these natural leads. You see the CS lead in favor of Meech and Quacker. Oh boy.
He does have the Ragnarok this time, so no crowd control can stop him. That can't be disabled. Waits for its timeout underneath the towers.
Nice.
There. Here comes Cyclone from Music. Music, he lost so much health in the blink of an eye, in the same state as his top laner Quacker. They'll have to take the long road back home.
Oh, Robbie Bob?
Yeah, Robbie Bob not done here. Throws out the field, doesn't get the stun coming through, but here's Tomio. Should have walked a little bit further there, Supernova. Tomio being a nuisance.
That's brutal. Quacker getting his back delayed. Look at where he is. Actually, I gotta hold that thought.
Zazel, a nice kick right onto Sketch.
Oh.
Moonlight Vigil comes out. Sketch forced to flash away. Disguised are starting to win in the top, to start to win in the bottom lane. It's looking good.
And I love the choice from Tomio to not drop the Rift Herald topside. The fact that Quacker has had his back delayed so long, he lost so much. He's now down almost 30 CS to FakeGod, and FakeGod has been part of 4 plates here. So now you can just make a play bot side. You got the flash out of Sketch. You got the heal out of Trevor. The only thing Trevor has to rely on at this point is that E and that ultimate there, the wish, to be able to keep his AD carry alive.
Mix of talent in LCS Challengers League. You know, you'll always have your rookies coming in, but for some of the more experienced players, such as FakeGod, he has a lot of time on this game and can read these matchups very well. Quacker has just been brute forcing a lot of these, but FakeGod knows what the stat checks mean, and this has got a strong lead over to the Gator in the top side, and it's giving Disguise pretty much echoes of game number 1.
That's right, 3,500 gold at 11 minutes in. They've gotten every neutral objective so far, and I'm still watching for Tomio. Where's he gonna go ahead and use that Rift Herald? You see, it's looking like he's just gonna go ahead and drop it bot side. No dive, nothing along those lines, but Meech, as he gets red and white, is very happy to walk up to this turret and be a part of this gold coming through.
This is a struggle because how do you stop this in the early game? As this gets later, you are going to be looking for picks with this Ash Arrow, but this laning phase, it's so disheartening to deal with if you're Supernova's bot lane.
It is. At this point, Sketch, at the end of the day, you're still as a utility champion in the Ash, so it does mean that your arrow will always have value Your ability to get picks will always be there for Supernova, but who's doing damage? That's the problem. No, you're so far behind in every role. The lead top lane is inconceivable, and another objective is going over to DSG as a result of everything they've gained.
NB, you got to think about, you took utility. What are you giving up on the other side? It's an Aphelios that's on the other side, who's currently claiming so many plates, even if he's not getting kills. A strong CS lead on top of that, and we know what Aphelios does in the late.
Yeah.
Ooh. You missed the apple. It's all right.
It was close. I'll give him credit there. Music was in the area too. There was an angle, but unfortunately, isn't gonna be there. And Meech picks up that first brick alongside Zazel. So this Aphelios Fed must be sitting on so much gold at the moment here, considering the fact that hey, he's got just so much money, or so much more money than Sketch does.
There's going to be a Mythic plus some components as well.
Probably.
Let's see the recall coming in. Finally channels it through. As I said, the call into inventory on top of that. Kraken Slayer going to be finished off.
Hey, you're on a
Dagger as well
dagger.
as the crit cloak.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the full tier 2 boots over Sketch as well, so clear indication of the lead. We see bot side. The CS is insane. As turret plating falls off, really the only turrets left to get are in the mid lane, and at least Robbie Bob's holding strong, right, Eric?
Yep. He's holding his own, but eventually he's going to start to feel the weather coming from the north and south collapsing onto his lane, and that's where Robbie Bob begin to feel a little discomfort in this matchup.
Just a touch. Just a little bit. And yeah, and we talk about how these team comps are going to be. Oh, hold on.
Nope, just a little bit.
I like this rotation from Meech. They do get him up here to just continue getting gold. He's already 40 CS up. He's got a lot of turret plates first. Brick, give him another brick just to keep this Aphelios rolling as this gold lead shoots up to 5.5K. Yeah, no one's touched the mid-tier 1, but who cares, Desrex? They're picking up gold everywhere else. And it means they can keep the pressure on inside Music's jungle. And we are definitely seeing a repeat of Game 1 so far.
Not much picked up by Supernova. No towers, no dragons, no kills. Diddly squat. And now it's only going to get worse as the attention has started to focus up into the mid lane. Trying to set up on those towers, young Zazel, Tomio not too far off in the jungle, looking to still away camps for Music. And we'll do just that. Music not quick enough to get the smite. And it's starting to become a stranglehold. Even though it's not as bloody as it was in game number 1, the denial of resources is so oppressive to Supernova.
Right, it's more of a chokehold versus a knockout, you know what I mean? Where it is just slowly but surely the grip tightens on Supernova, and they're struggling for air at the moment. There is very little space for them on the map, especially considering the time in game. 15 minutes, turrets plates fell over a minute ago, but objective bounties are already up and available for SA.
So far, a solid performance from Disguise, seeing them in the second half of the split thus far, at least the beginning of the second half of the split.
Yeah.
Start to look this good. I mean, I do think that they are going to be back in contention towards the top of the ladder. I don't think they're going to get into the same position as Team Liquid, who have a head start on everyone right now. But I think once we get to playoffs, this is going to be a completely different Disguise than we had at the start of the season.
Yeah, for a couple of teams, you include Wildcard, who had a change of members, FlyQuest, who had a new addition in the top lane and are still trying to learn to figure out with the new additions that they have. Disguise is one of those teams where, you know, to be fair, we're behind Team Liquid Challengers because of the fact that Team Liquid Challengers, they didn't change any of the players. They had a top 3 finish, and they kept everybody, and they continued working on that same system to get to where they are now. So that second round robin will be very interesting to see. And it's good to see that as we close out the first round robin for these two teams on your screen, Disguise are looking good.
Mid lane tower under attack by Disguised. Supernova, they have nothing online to deal with it. They have Quacker over on the flank, but how long is he going to stay alive for? He does have the Ravenous Hydra, but there's not that much in defensive stats, so FakeGod looking to punish outright. As he gets lower and lower, Quacker becomes more of a threat, and FakeGod's relying more on those cooldowns. Quacker actually makes it relatively even in the exchange.
Yeah, I mean, Quacker has a flash. He was going to die 100% if he stayed. But it's true. Olaf still does Olaf things as DSG. They're going to be able to easily take this next turret, and they want more.
Turret goes down. Supernova on retreat. Disguised. Got what they came for. And yeah, this squad, they are a force to be reckoned with. No, we highlighted a lot of what they have, but you also have to look at what they turned down to get into this position. Both Fake God and Young had LCS offers. Young, I remember in particular, had an offer to be an LCS sub, but said no. No, I know I can hang with those players, but I want to play. I don't want to be on the bench. I want to get on the Rift and take heads. And he's showing it right now. Same thing with Fake God. Both of these players are hungry.
You got to respect the drive there to turn down an offer like that so that you can actually be on the Rift. That drive is so important, and we see it for so many players here in Challengers League. Hey, Young, in time, could very well be one of those players that earns an LCS starting spot. Fake God, he could do it. He could do it right now. Fake God has been
Fake God
so
and
good.
Zazel, man. Both
Fake God and we're
yeah.
Zazel, I think we've talked about it enough. But it's true.
Yeah, we can keep talking about it. I don't think we...
Yeah, you're right. It's over. Yeah, Zazel Fake God could be an LCS tomorrow. And oh my God, look at this is what I'm talking about. Look at him. He goes 1 for 1 despite being 3v1. Yes, he's a Fed Renekton, but it is still a good play that we praise.
And Supernova leave their base exposed. What is Sketch going to do about this? Ash gets too close. Ash die.
Hey, Sketch, what are you doing?
Sketch. Come on now.
Okay,
That's not the way you want to go.
Yes, cleanse and flash, but also playing with fire just a little bit. And this is what you have to do as Supernova. When you're this far behind, Lennon, you got to make some crazy plays. Throw 4 people in the side lane, see if you can kill somebody. What?
Josh called me Lennon.
Oh, damn it. You see, Eric? There's no recovery from that.
Yeah. I'll let you bask in that.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna hold that. Marinate. Now I want burgers. Look what you did to me.
Get between 2 buns with Fake God. Go watch that right now. We'll have that during the break.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe 5 minutes is enough time for me to unfreeze a burger and make it.
Unfreeze?
It's definitely not. Thaw, defrost, whatever, man.
Nah, you don't even freeze. Just get it fresh, just like Fake God's been doing up here in the top lane. He likes his meat right fresh, sourced from the open range farm that is top lane. Ooh, Quacker. Skirmishing it out, though. Quacker knows he has 2 in the back pocket, but we saw what happened last time on the 3v1.
Yeah, I was going to say, he still walked away. Does not want that smoke, I fear. Quacker, been a tough one for him this series. Fake God. And this is definitely a talk of outplay, not misplay. Fake God has been incredible in both of these games. We got to recognize that as such. He's been playing really well in both matchups, and Tomio, he's doing whatever he wants at this point.
Yeah, engage on the music. At this point, Disguise are at such a lead that it's see hero, kill hero mode.
Oh, absolutely. Dude, you have your boot on your enemy's throat, Lennon. You do not let up. You step harder. I keep saying, Lennon, what? You did this to me. I blame you.
Why do you blame me?
I don't know. This is somehow your fault. This is somehow your fault.
We're not casting the game anymore. We're working through our issues. Oh my God! He's got to work through a lot more than just issues, man.
He's got to work through the gray screen.
Yeah, you got a timer for that. 30 seconds to get that working, get that down. Now Baron being started up by Disguised. Over the wall, they have Young poking away. Tomio taking it. Supernova will take the fight. Music hops over the wall. Doesn't get the smite timing. Tomio gets the secure. A kill coming out for Meat. And this is completely a slaughter. Disguise taking down Supernova.
Supernova into the grinder as Disguised are just ripping them apart. Meech is so fed right now. And is just taking turrets, taking HP bars so very quickly. And, oh man, Lennon, do I say the words? Do you want to say the words?
I'll say it, Josh. Done and done.
Damn it! What is happening? Just say the thing. Yes, Rex.
Right. Coming into the match, Turo Baron buff now being utilized by Disguise as they look to close out this game rather early. 21 minutes into this now, onto the 22nd minute. It's 2 inhibitors. They're going to fall, and we're going to take another look at what was the last breath of Supernova.
more of a cough and a gasp, really. They did their best, man. And honestly, it was a good attempt for Music. 50 HP, not bad, all things considered. Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. So, it went how it went. Is this another, do you want to take bets, Eric? Is it going to be another soul coming through, or is it just not going to happen?
I think it's going to be sold this time.
You think it's going to be soul this time? Okay, respect.
Oh, I think I'm wrong. Here we go. Sketch under attack. Young will take him down with the autos. Fake God shows up, able to slice and dice out, takes the fight to Quacker's face. Meech goes on a rampage. Tomio still on the hunt, puts the permafrost onto Trevor. Ooh, shivering down. It's not just the cold you feel, it is the pain. Young goes on a killing spree. Robbie, Bobby, you're going the wrong way. Meech unstoppable in disguise. It's the closing moments. The team that we were promised, the team that so many community members put into that top 2 equation of the ladder of NACL. Here they are, putting a slaughter onto Supernova and taking this with a 2-0. Breaking the curse.
And a convincing one at that. They finished with 15K ahead, and maybe they're going to get a little more. Let's have a little fun as they finish their first round robin at 11-7.
And what can you say about Disguised other than, damn, that is a good-ass team beatdown. They performed oh so well, and like it's usually we try and highlight one player in each and every one of these. We've been so high on highlighting Fake God, but it is really a full team effort from Disguised.
It has been. You go lane by lane, and you see everybody has been playing so well. I mean, we can look at the post-game breakdown, see the stats and things like that. And, oh my God, Meech. A lot of damage coming through. Quacker, once more, most damage on his team, but has been neutralized so well by Fake God and Disguise. Is not able to have the impact we usually see. And they did a good job removing Sketch from this game. Any opportunity, I mean, they dove him, they killed him. Look at the damage he did. They barely let him play League of Legends.
I mean, that was the sacrifice that Supernova did trying to go into this utility bot lane. It gave Meech a lane that was free. And when he gets income like that, he gets damage like that. We're going to take a moment now to throw it over to short break because I don't want to hear from you calling me Lennon anymore. You don't want to hear from me calling you Josh anymore. I want to hear from the players that are victorious on the opposite side. So we'll be right back. Kangas will catch you with the Verizon post-game interview with our winners in disguise.
The LCS Challengers League is brought to you by Turo, the world's largest car-sharing marketplace. Find your drive.
Hello and welcome back, everyone. I have Young for our Verizon post-game interview after a 2-0 to close out the week in fantastic fashion, 5-1 overall. Congratulations, Young, for picking up another sweep.
Thank you.
Now, I want to start there because this is the end of the first round robin, and you are 11-7 now, looking pretty good for your final week. But looking back on the first half of the split, now that you've played every team once, what's been the big surprises for you as a player, as a competitor?
I feel like this split's like a lot closer. It's not as top heavy as last split, even though last split was closer towards the end. But I feel like literally everyone can beat everyone, so it's been pretty close. Like all the teams.
On that topic, you have split a few series. So out of those series you've split, what one of those was the most surprising to you? Where you're like, oh no, we're gonna get this one. We got these guys, but then they stepped up and took a game off you.
I guess it kind of felt bad to 1-1 versus AoE and Maryville because I feel like we could have easily 2-0'd, but
sure.
I had the Rise incident versus Maryville, and then
We didn't talk about the Rise incident. Yes, yes. Well, this is a great patch for you right now. That's kind of the big change from this weekend compared to last ones. We've been talking about it on broadcast. Support engages are back. Silas seems to be back in mid, shaping up to be good for you as a player. So how's it been like playing on this patch compared to last one?
I like it a lot better. I think I'm better off champs like Annie and Ari and stuff. I've just been playing them just because they're like the best in the meta. But
sure.
I'm glad engaged supports are back and it opens up like the melee mid. So it's like the meta's getting better for me for sure.
Now, I want to dig into some of your personality when you say that you're playing things like the Ari and the Annie because they're good. How does that feel? Are you like, okay, you know, it's my job, I'll do it? Or is there a little bit of resentment? You're like, come on, guys, let me pop off on Aurelia, give me the Silas. Like, how do you feel about it?
I don't mind Ari. Like, it's fun playing Ari, but when I play Annie, like, I just feel like I'm like 50 IQ, like 3 APM, just right-clicking and like doing nothing. So
yeah,
I don't enjoy playing that champ.
She is the Skarner of mid lane, as I like to call her. Oh, I guess technically that's more Malzahar, but we don't talk about Malzahar. Hopefully he never comes back. Now, in spring, you did get a chance to play for the LCS on the opening weekend, and after that, I remember we had talked with you. You said the experience basically made you fearless going into the NACL games because, you know, you've already played on the bigger stage, so now this is lower pressure. I'd like to follow up on that. How is your mentality now that, you know, you've had some time, you've had a whole split in spring, you've had half a split here in summer. Where are you in that fearless mentality? Is that still holding, or has it shifted anyway?
I can't lie, I'm like going into DSG, I was like a little nervous because like the viewership is like pretty insane. Like Toast brings a lot of viewers, so I was kind of nervous to like get into front of all these people, but I think I got over it pretty fast. Like I don't really care if, you know, people hate or like people, you know, with the amount of people watching, you just play the game.
Sure.
Like how it's always been. So like,
now
like starting was kind of like a little nervous, but it's like normal now. I just feel like being split all over again. So.
Sure. You just needed some time to get accustomed to everything. Now, you mentioned the viewership, but you're also joining 3/5 of the championship roster. What was it like there in terms of pressure of saying, oh, I'm playing with some guys that just won last split?
Yeah, it felt weird to kind of adjust because like I kind of wanted to just listen to what like all their calls and all their plays, but it's important to like step up and like have your own voice in the team. I feel like because it's very easy to just like blindly follow and trust whatever they say, but you also have to have your own like part in the team. So I think that was my biggest like struggles joining this team.
Oh, interesting. How do you feel that you're doing now in that department? Like in this last series, were there key moments where you feel like your voice is what led to a big moment happening, or are you still working on finding those moments?
Or I think last series I stepped up a little bit. Today's series was just kind of a wash. Like I didn't feel like I just like laying to bed. But just generally, I think I've been doing better and like being more selfish and like asking for plays and asking for resources. So
cool. Like to hear that, and I love to hear the team coming together. Now, I like to close these off on fun notes. This is a hypothetical I like to give players. I give you $1 million right now in a briefcase, in cash, untaxed. It's a lot of money, right? But the stipulation is that every time for the rest of your professional career, the Disguised Toast says your name on his stream, you die in-game. Do you take the money?
I mean, it's $1 million. Like I think I just gotta make the bag.
$1 million. Okay, so you're prioritizing the bag over performance. I don't know if Toast can be happy about that.
Actually, okay, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe if I get like a 5% raise, maybe.
You're going for the okay, so you get your boss's
slight.
approval. Maybe if the Toast signs off on this. And also, I didn't say, you know, stage games. This could be like he just mentions you offhand in his own stream, and then you just die randomly in solo queue. So you gotta think about those types of layers. Any final shout outs you have for anybody watching at home, Young, as we now are split if you're a millionaire or not?
Shout out Meech, you know, playing on 170 ping. It's kind of crazy how well he's performing. Yeah, shout out my family. Yeah, shout out my teammates. Yeah.
I feel like his ping just goes up every time. I don't know. There's something going on. We got to check in on Meech's internet connection. Thank you so much, Young. Congratulations on the successful end to your first round robin, and best of luck going into next week.
Thank you.
With that said, we're going to send it to a short break before we are back for our second series of the day. You're not going to miss it. We'll see you there.